Good morning, church family. My name's Austin Kettle, and I'm your brand new pastoral intern. We're looking this morning at Psalm 120. It's a lot shorter than yesterday's psalm, and it's not the kind of psalm you'd print on a fridge magnet and put up. It's a confusing little one. It's very different. It's the first of 14 songs called the Songs of Ascents, and these are songs that the Israelites used to sing on their way up to Jerusalem to worship God. Songs to prepare their hearts to meet with God. And I think that really helps us understand this slightly strange little psalm that seems so different to what we might expect. But I think there's real grace for us in this. There's grace for us in the Lord giving us a psalm that gives voice to our broken hearts, that gives voice to that experience of feeling far from Him and setting out on that journey back to Him. Let's have a look at the psalm together. Psalm 120, a song of ascents. In my distress I called to the Lord, and He answered me. Deliver me, O Lord, from lying lips, from a deceitful tongue. What shall be given to you, and what more shall be done to you, you deceitful tongue? A warrior's sharp arrows with glowing coals of the broom tree. Woe to me that I sojourn in Meshech, that I dwell among the tents of Kedar. Too long have I had my dwelling among those who hate peace. I am for peace, but when I speak, they are for war. Let's start with those places in verse 5. I had to look these up. Meshech was in the far north of the psalmist's world, up on the shores of the Black Sea. Kedar was way down in Arabia. It's almost impossible that the psalmist lived in both. They represent extremes, places of extreme distance from the place where God was, Jerusalem, where His presence dwelt in the temple. So this is where the psalmist feels they are. In a spiritual world with tangible geography, the psalmist wants us to feel the distance from God. This journey of ascent to meet with God is starting out in a place that feels far away from God's presence. And what is it like here? Look back at verse 1. When I'm here, I'm distressed, surrounded by lies in a culture where deceit is normalized. Crying out for justice to be done in verse 3, longing for the decisive action of verse 4. In verse 5, woe to me that I sojourn here, that this is where my life is, yet I am so far from any real sense of home. In verses 6 and 7 we see regret at this disjointed reality. Too long have I had my dwelling here. I have stayed too long. Things are out of place and wrong. Far from God's presence, I am for peace, but I'm shouted down, drowned out, disjointed, disconnected, and dispirited. Yet not despairing. Look at verse 1. This is a psalm of setting out to be with the God that they remember. It reads, I've been distressed, and He answered me. So let me set out once again. Let me put an end to too long. I will ascend the hill of the Lord and no longer dwell here in hopeless distress. In John chapter 4, Jesus meets a woman far from God, a woman who so longs to be delivered, that woman at the well. And He tells her of a time when she will not have to ascend the hill of Jerusalem to make this journey to God. Family, as we read this psalm, we can locate ourselves before God. We can say, too long have I had my dwelling place among those who hate peace. Too long have I been content to live in the shadows, remembering a good God, but staying far from Him. Whatever your distress, Psalm 120 invites you to speak it to the Lord and to start that journey once again. No longer to the top of the hill, but to the foot of the cross, where love and mercy meet, and to the streams of living water that are there for us today in Christ, wherever we sojourn.